Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bad Movie Brothers. I'm Eric.
I'm Chad.
And this time, we gleamed the cube.
Yeah, we did.
I've never seen a cube gleam so much as this cube.
Have you seen this movie before?
I have not seen this movie before. Have you seen this movie before?
Yes.
Oh, this is in a Bad Movie Brothers first.
Probably, yeah.
Under what circumstances had you seen this movie before?
Well, so I've, been a fan of Tony Hawk's for a while. Not like a diehard fan or anything, but I knew that he was in this movie because he's talked about it on several interviews. And then he mentioned that Christian Slater was the lead, and that piqued my interest, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, and
Okay.
found it, watched it, enjoyed it.
Well, there you go. I don't even know what to say about this. First of all, what do you mean you're a Tony Hawk fan?
From the video games and skateboard videos from the late 90s, early 2000s, X Games.
I know who Tony Hawk is. You don't skateboard.
I would like to skateboard, but I know I shouldn't, so I don't.
So you're an aspirational skateboarder.
Right, yeah, I
Okay.
get joy through his skateboarding.
Oh, how high-minded of you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Well, then look out. Now, Tony Hawk, of course, is barely in this movie.
Right, he's the Papa John's delivery boy.
I suppose we should tell people what this movie is about. This is Gleaming the Cube is a movie that on the surface appears like it's going to be a movie about skateboard dudes in California that turns very quickly into a movie about Christian Slater. His adopted Vietnamese brother gets murdered, and Christian Slater tries to solve the murder with occasional skateboarding antics peppered in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's similar to the bike riding movie.
It is. I thought that too as I was watching this, that this was very similar to BMX Bandits, in that in any logical world, this would just be a movie. This would be some sort of like zany, I don't know, Encino Man style movie about hijinks and skateboards. But it is, for much of the runtime, a deadly serious movie about a murder and an arms conspiracy.
Well, and it's about fitting in school and with friends and things like that too.
It is, and it's also, a lot of the movie is about like grief and Christian Slater coming to terms with his brother's death, and there's a lot of really good stuff in it about like the impact that has on the family and what Christian Slater's place is in the family and how he sees himself, in regards to his brother and all of this kind of stuff that really made me wish it had just been that movie.
Right.
Like that movie about dealing with the death of his brother and navigating high school and family life, I liked quite a bit. But the rest of it, the dealing with these guys who are trying to ship guns to Vietnam, and one of them is like character actor, I think his name is John Hurd, that you've seen in a million things, and like a bunch of murders and stuff, just felt very like unrelated to everything else that was going on.
What was I supposed to do? Let him shoot me? Now you were a soldier. You've done your share. Killing.
It was in defense of my country. This is different.
How's it different?
This is murder.
It was an accident.
So on your first viewing, you enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, so it's been discussed in many interviews and magazines. Well, because it's got such a strange name, there's always been a debate about what the name means and back and forth on that. And
what debate? They'd explain it in the movie.
Okay, then you tell me what it is.
Well, this is, so according to Christian Slater's other friend, Christian Slater, he has about 8 friends. Only 2 of them have any lines.
Right.
One of them is Tony Hawk, who delivers pizza and rarely rides a skateboard in movie.
Yep.
In fact, in the climax of the movie, there's much like the climax of BMX Bandits, in which a bunch of kids on BMX bikes show up. A bunch of kids show up on skateboards, but Tony Hawk is driving a truck.
Yeah, he was probably injured at the time, I imagine.
Could be. In any event, there's another kid who has more lines than Tony Hawk, who is some sort of skateboarding guru to Christian Slater. And he, I don't know, about a third of the way into the movie, says that to Christian Slater that you need to gleam the cube, and that the cube is where you go in your head when you're skateboarding and all the distractions fade away.
Checked yourself out in the mirror this morning? It's an oversimplification. When I say different, I mean different. Brian, you gleamed the cube. Huh? You're in worse shape than I thought. The cube, Brian. It's the place that you skate when you let go. Don't worry. It's an intangible. 9/10 of the people don't grasp it, so I guess you're safe for now. Oh, maybe I don't want to be different.
And
Okay, so what is...
So what does the
that mean?
word gleam mean? I guess I took it to mean that you perceive it, that you like catch a glimpse of the, oh, no, you say.
This is not what gleaming the cube means.
Well, then educate me.
So you're right that the cube is... Hold on. The cube is where you go when you're skating in your mind, but gleaming the cube means to... And most of so what the cube refers to when you're failing at skating. So gleaming the cube means to shine so brightly when you fail at skating that you get noticed for being, a courageous skater.
Fantastic. Why would you call your movie that?
I don't know. So the guys that wrote it, I think, came up with the idea and they just used that line.
It's certainly an intriguing title.
Yeah.
It makes the movie sound more like it's going to be a weird science fiction movie,
Right.
than it does a skateboarding movie. But yeah, I mean, obviously the name of this movie should be Christian Skater.
Clearly. 'Cause
But
that's his
outside
name
of
in the
that-
movie. Right.
Oh my goodness. So, did you like it this time?
A little less so. I think I realized the ham-handedness of the murder stuff and the conspiracy to ship guns across the world. And
Yeah.
I was mostly trying to figure out if Christian Slater could actually skateboard or not.
Well, this was the question I was going to ask you, since it seems like you are tapped into the world, that you're a real cube head.
Right.
I assume he's doing his own skateboarding.
I don't think he is.
You don't do you think it's Tony?
I think it probably was Tony.
Interesting. I saw on YouTube there are like a bunch of videos of like Tony Hawk and Christian Slater like sitting down together to talk about it, but I didn't bother to watch any of those.
And yeah, I know like the actual like where he like is in like the construction site where he's like doing a bunch of just tricks on the ground,
Yeah.
like spinning around and stuff. That's definitely not Christian
Yeah, you
Slater.
can't really see his face very well. Like there's a lot of foot close-ups that can't possibly be him.
Right.
And then there's a lot of heavy shadow.
Yep.
For a movie that is ostensibly about skateboarding, there is not a ton of skateboarding in this movie. You're a solid 20 minutes into the movie before you get any skateboarding at all.
Yeah, it's like the scene where he needs to go skate just to get his mind straight.
Well, he's got to gleam that cube.
That's right.
Oh my! I suppose it's worthwhile to kind of go back to the beginning of this. So the movie begins with very much in the style of the movie I thought this was going to be, where they essentially hijack a small airplane so that they can fly over California. I guess this is around LA. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And from the air, try and find empty or abandoned pools that they can skateboard.
Yeah, and this is the Lords of Dogtown era, so this is what those guys did. Hey, don't laugh at me. That's real stuff. People like this stuff.
I'm aware of the documentary Lords of Dogtown.
And that was real.
I know, hence documentary.
Right.
Yeah. Look, great. I'm happy for you. I just did not come into this recording expecting you to be a skateboarding enthusiast.
It's true.
Do you own a skateboard?
So I am in the process. I'm gonna I have skateboard decks that I'm gonna put art onto and hang up.
What kind
I don't
of
have
art?
one with wheels. I don't know.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the it's not the hijacking the plane. It's the fact that they're just skateboarding down the runways no problem.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that now?
Well, I mean, I assume it's like a municipal airport.
Okay, could you imagine that now?
No.
Yeah.
But it'd probably be pretty fun.
Right.
And then, but also then when they get to the pool, they skateboard for approximately 4 seconds before one of them scrapes his knee, and then they call an ambulance.
Whoa! Oh, Jesus!
Slam time.
Oh, slammed pretty hard right there.
He hits his head. What are you talking about?
I thought he just scraped his knee.
No, he hits the back of his head. That's why he's got the bandages on his head.
I thought he just scraped his knee.
No.
Oh, well, in any event, and the pool's owned by the guy from the Bob Newhart show.
You're in trouble, kid. We have a homeowners association up here. I know my rights. You're gonna hear from
I'm
us.
just having fun, okay?
Fun? That's what you say. Fun.
Detective McGill.
I'm glad you're here, Detective. Okay. Can I sue them? Can I sue his family?
We then meet Vinny, Christian Slater's brother, who again is Vietnamese, which I only keep mentioning because it is integral to the integral to the plot.
That's right.
He works at what I think is a great touch of the movie at an Asian language video rental.
Yep.
Which, especially at that time, if you ever is it's a video rental, it's also kind of a convenience store. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. And he eventually becomes aware that his boss is involved in shady dealings.
Right.
Vinny investigates this for about a minute and a half, and then he gets murdered.
Well, he went to the warehouse, which
Right.
he shouldn't have done.
Right. He shouldn't have done it.
He should not have.
Christian Slater goes to the warehouse later in the movie. He's just fine.
Well, he's smart. He knows to not get ticked by the motion detector.
He's smart.
Yes.
Okay. Because
He knew how to blow up the whole tank and everything. He's smart. And he set up the dad with the hat, so he knows what he's doing.
You're referring, of course, to
Calculated.
the scene where, in order to frame, the plot of this movie is obscenely complicated, but Christian Slater eventually figures out the same stuff Vinny does, although it takes Christian Slater much longer to figure out that
He couldn't read it.
that the boss of the video store is involved in this gun running operation. And so he decides to I'm not sure if he's just sending a message or if he's causing wanton destruction or if he's trying to get the cops to the warehouse. I'm not really sure. But he goes to the warehouse, he puts a can of gasoline on a skateboard, and then shoves it at a giant propane tank.
And he sets out the security guards in their trailer down the hill.
Yeah. And it involves Christian Slater defending himself with just a wood pallet from the flaming debris of blowing up the outside of this warehouse. This is one of those movies, it's two movies for me. The movie that's about him dealing with the dead brother I like a lot, but if I'm going to have the movie about the gun running conspiracy, I wish it had starred Vinny.
Right, yeah.
I was really interested in Vinny as this movie started, as a character and like the life he was leading, working at this video store and figuring all this stuff out. And then he just dies right away. I was shocked when they
choke
killed
him out. Choke him out with a wet towel.
That's right. Yeah. So it's like particularly like gruesome in its specificity.
Yes.
You know? Much of the movie is Christian Slater trying to investigate what's going on. Going from one guy to the next to figure it out. His big move is he figures out that that Vinny's daughter, it's Vinny's daughter's dad who owns Vinny's girlfriend's dad. This is so complicated. Vinny's girlfriend's dad runs the video store and is the guy who's involved in the conspiracy. So Christian Slater decides she won't talk to him because he's a skateboarder dude. So he cleans up his act so that he can spend much of the rest of the movie manipulating her into liking him so he can get information.
Hi, honey. Oh my. Oh, look at you.
What do you think?
Yeah, he becomes Zach Morris to go after her.
Very much so. And then, yeah, like Christian Slater figures out what's going on. He occasionally checks in with his buddy in his buddy's subterranean skateboarding lair.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He looks like he's a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that? Was that like a bomb shelter? What even was that? Now, once Christian Slater has finally figured everything out by the end of the movie, he decides that they're going to BMX Bandit style try and take down the criminals by himself. And he both orders his skateboarding cronies to like form a posse, and he goes back to this underground lair to have his buddy build him.
Back to the Future stuff.
Okay, good. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
I mean, I couldn't even think of what to call it when I was making my notes, but I guess the badass skateboard.
Well, yeah, he got the big skateboard that Biff got in Back to the Future when it's the
it doesn't
hoverboard.
hover.
Yeah, but it looked just like that.
Because much of the end of this movie is dominated by an extremely long car chase sequence that at one point involves Christian Slater grabbing onto a Corvette.
What the hell? All right. Still with you. Come on, let's go.
Because we've gotten into this whole area where the main bad guy has stolen a police car, and now Christian Slater holding on to this Corvette, and then also the cop. There's a whole plot where Christian Slater semi-befriends a cop that we don't even have the energy to talk about.
Nope.
And they chase each other through the streets until they're cornered by the skateboard posse and the Pizza Hut truck.
Don't forget the fact that at one point, Christian Slater literally like rides his skateboard over a cop car somehow.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
No
the
problem.
skateboard, we've barely even talked. It's got like a metal top. Like the top of it is made out of like the stuff they make like a running board on a truck out of.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has these pitch black wheels that are a rougher ride on the road, but will make you go faster.
No. Black ones, these.
Brian, it's a rougher ride on the street. All they are is faster.
Right.
Got it.
And there's lots of shots of Christian Slater skateboarding down hills in various cool poses until such time as the chase really gets kicked off. But even before all of that, he rides the skateboard through like a picture window to try to disarm John Hurt at the end.
What happened there? What was the point of that? Nothing happened. He just like got hurt and did nothing.
If anything, he might have gotten Vinny's
The
girlfriend's
Colonel?
dad shot.
Yeah.
But then he gets another chance at the end of the chase to try to disarm him again. And fortunately, this time, he comes at some obscenely high angle. And John Hurt is so surprised by what's going on, he doesn't try to shoot his gun at the flying skateboarder. And then Christian Slater is able to disarm him.
Yes, he launches himself hundreds of feet through the air to do so.
How about the part during the chase where Christian Slater skateboards underneath a semi?
Yeah, that's not possible. You can't do that. That was crazy. The sheer physics didn't work, right? He goes forward somehow.
Right, he's still accelerating at, let's say, 60 miles
underneath.
an hour.
Yeah.
He's not losing any speed.
Speaking of power, no power there for that.
And we haven't even talked about my favorite part of the movie, which is the Pizza Hut truck. Not since the hot dog truck in The Dirt Bike Kid have I been so impressed by a truck. This truck, it's for delivering pizza. It's a red pickup truck. I know you're thinking no big deal. It has the iconic Pizza Hut roof on top of the truck.
It is the Pizza Hut. Right.
I was blown away. No wonder Tony Hawk didn't want to skateboard when he had that truck.
Clear neglect of the truck, too. They just throwing skateboards in the back of that thing. You know it's getting scraped up.
Well, they're going to get pulled over. You can't drive down the highway with 7 or 8 teens just sitting in the back of the truck like that.
In the 80s, you could. Yeah. So you're telling me.
Yeah.
With your comments through this discussion.
Yeah.
You don't want to skateboard even a little bit?
I've never been interested.
You don't want to just step on it and go zoo?
I mean, I suppose at the appropriate age, I wanted a hoverboard like all right-thinking
sure.
people did. But also, like, the hoverboard seems like it's doing the majority of the work.
Okay.
Like, I suppose I am interested in a board that I could just step onto and then it just takes me somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But not, I don't know, no, I'm not terribly, like, I'm not down on it. Like, I get it. I definitely think that there's obviously lots of skill and talent, and obviously Tony Hawk is very talented. I think that it's, it's undeniably cooler than, like, roller skating.
Right.
At me in the comments, I guess. But
ooh,
yeah,
fight.
I'll bring it on. But no, I'm sorry. I'm just not. It doesn't speak to me. The cube. I will never gleam the cube, Chad.
All right, understandable.
Now, what? So you like to put? So what are your thoughts? Like, I gotta be honest with you. If I didn't say this already, I was largely bored by this movie.
I mean, yeah, there's not a lot, like you're saying, there's not a lot to it. I would have rather either seen a skateboard movie or the family drama that you're talking about.
Right, and you could certainly combine the skateboard movie and the family drama movie could have a lot of skateboarding in it, or you could do just, like a, 80s hijinks skateboarding comedy, and I'd be more excited about that. But yeah, because it keeps getting bogged down with the investigation, I was largely bored by it.
Yeah, and
so Chad, where are we going to rank this sucker?
I guess my opinion would be just connect it right to wherever BMX Bandits is, because it's, very similar to
it is shockingly similar. I noticed that the director is also Australian, so one wonders if he wasn't
there
like,
you go.
I saw BMX Bandits.
Yeah, just make a new one.
But it's skateboards. Well, BMX Bandits is number 39. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably a little bit better than BMX Bandits. I'm looking at the stuff we have above it. Boris and Natasha's right above it. I think it's probably a little better than that. The Dirt Bike Kid's right above it. I would say it is like right there. I would say this is probably a little bit better than the Dirt Bike Kid just because there are those scenes that are really good scenes in it. Like the scene where Christian Slater finds his dad like watching the video of them playing Frisbee and Christian Slater's being a real jerk.
Sure.
And like Christian Slater like owns that in the movie. Then Thunderground, it really is like, it's about as good as any of these movies. Thunderground, then Escape Artist, then The Shrunken City, then The Wizard of Speed and Time. I would say it's probably not quite as good as The Wizard of Speed and Time. I would say maybe between The Escape Artist and Thunderground, put it at like number 36.
I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, it seems about right.
All right. Moving it up. Moving it up on our official list that you can find over at Letterboxd.
Wow. Hello, everybody. Go look at it.
That's right. All right. Well, I am glad, Chad, that we together gleamed this cube.
That's right. We are now the lords of cubing. Cube Town.
The Lords of Cuba?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Oh, okay. We'll see you next time with another bad movie.
Goodbye.